I'm Catherine Dow. It's Friday, July 25th. Today, a trial's impact.
What that room required was character, and there was an absence of character in that room that night.
A reaction to the verdict in the sex assault case against 5 World Junior hockey players. Also today, reaching the surface.
Because of that, they stayed safe for more than 60 hours.
A Manitoba man is rescued after 60 hours trapped underground. Plus, road repairs.
From first-hand experience that some of the roads nearby here could use some more attention.
The Manitoba highways getting a multi-million-dollar upgrade. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Marilee is away. Local news is coming up, but before we get to our top story, there is an urgent weather warning to tell you about. Let's bring in CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady. So Colleen, what are you watching right now?
Well, you know, it's hot and it's humid out there in southern Manitoba, and that is a very unstable air mass that's put much of the south and central regions under a severe thunderstorm watch. But in addition to that, it's this area in south central Manitoba that's under a tornado watch. So severe thunderstorms, when they develop, always have the potential, Catherine, to produce tornadoes, but sometimes the mix of conditions seems to make it a little bit more likely. But it is a watch at this point. That does not mean any tornadoes are occurring at this point, but we're just getting started with the evening ahead. I'll have more details on this storm and how it could affect these areas as well as Winnipeg and the rest of Manitoba coming up.
Thanks, Colleen. More reaction today to the not guilty verdict in the high-profile sexual assault case involving 5 former members of Canada's World Junior hockey team. Yesterday, Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Alex Fermenton were acquitted of sexual assault in connection with an incident in a London, Ontario hotel room 7 years ago. McLeod was also found not guilty on a separate charge of being a party to the offense. In her decision, Justice Maria Carosia found the complainant's testimony not credible or reliable, and that there were, quote, troubling aspects in how she delivered some of her evidence. And joining me now live is CTV's Taylor Brock. So Taylor, what's the fallout in the hockey community?
Well, that remains to be seen, Catherine. The NHL and the NHL Players Association are at odds over whether the 5 players acquitted of sexual assault should be allowed to resume their NHL careers. The NHL says it will be reviewing the judge's findings, and while it conducts that analysis, the 5 players are ineligible to play in the NHL. The Players Association says that after missing a full season of their respective careers, they should now have the opportunity to return to work. Meanwhile, a man who was sexually abused by a teacher and hockey coach here in Winnipeg says even though the players were found not guilty, the accused player showed a lack of character.
There's the legal right and wrong, and there's the moral right and wrong. And how are we supposed to conduct ourselves? The thing I try to teach kids when I coach is just because you can doesn't mean you should. What that room required was character, and there was an absence of character in that room that night.
Greg Gilhooly was one of the people who came forward with allegations of sexual abuse against Graham James. James was convicted of sexual assault against his players, including NHLers Sheldon Kennedy and Theo Fleury. Gilhooly says despite the verdict, he hopes that the trial itself has sent a message to young hockey players.
My naive hope is that hockey players, young hockey players across the country will see this and say, look, we got to avoid situations like this because those 5 players have been dragged through the mud. Careers stopped, if not ended. Don't do this. Leave aside the greater good and what's right and wrong. Self-preservation says don't act like a jerk.
CTV's Daniel Halmerson is working on this story. He'll show you more local reaction coming up on CTV News at 6.
All right, thanks for this, Taylor. Manitoba Hydro says power is out in the northern town of Leaf Rapids after a wildfire entered the community earlier this week. The Crown Corporation says it's aware of some poles and lines that are down in the community, located about 980 kilometers northwest of Winnipeg. It says it is still unsafe to enter the town to fully assess the damage or make repairs, meaning it may be a while before power can be restored. A nearby blaze jumped the Churchill River on Wednesday evening and entered the community through its industrial area, leaving one home and several abandoned structures damaged. The town says in a Facebook post that internet connection is also out in the community, which is making it hard for officials to get information from those still on the ground. Meantime, in Snow Lake, a nearby wildfire jumped the Narrows. It took out a power line and made it to the outskirts of town. The province says it's now 1 kilometer from town and is burning out of control. But crews and helicopters managed to keep it at bay long enough for the winds to shift and push the fire north. A mandatory evacuation order is in place for the town. 2 nearby mines and Wekusko Falls Provincial Park are closed. And the city of Thompson says crews are making good progress on an out-of-control fire some 14 kilometers to the north. It says crews are mopping out pop spots on the west side today, while helicopters and other crews are working on the eastern side. It adds a controlled burn plan has been approved in the south. There are a total of 121 wildfires burning right now in Manitoba. 3 workers, including a man from Manitoba, have been rescued after being trapped underground for days at a remote mine in northern BC.
What the response has shown is that safety protocols work. Incredible that Kevin, Darren and Jesse did exactly what they were trained to do, and because of that they stayed safe for more than 60 hours until we could bring them to surface and home.
And the men were brought to the surface last night. The 3 work for a drilling company that says there was a euphoric response to their rescue. One of the workers has been identified as Jesse Shubadi of Manitoba. Officials say they're all safe, in good health and in good spirits. Today they're being reunited with their families and will soon be back in Smithers, BC, where the company is based. Workers had been trapped by 2 rock falls that blocked an access tunnel. A remote-controlled scoop was used to dig away at the debris, estimated to be 7 to 8 meters high. Drones flew over the debris blockage and found a stable route to where the men were. They used a protected rescue vehicle to get them out. Manitoba RCMP is helping in the search for a man who escaped custody of the Manitoba First Nations Police Service on Thursday night. 26-year-old Byron Roulette, who was arrested by the MFNPS earlier on Thursday, was last seen around 7:30 p.m. in the 500 block of 5th Street Southeast in Portage La Prairie. Police say Roulette is handcuffed, has bloodstains on his shoes, and is wearing gray-brown shorts. He is also believed to be shirtless. If you see Roulette, call police immediately and do not approach him. In a news release late Thursday, RCMP noted there's a large police presence around 5th Street Southeast and Queens Avenue in Portage La Prairie as police search for the missing suspect. Portage residents are asked to be on the lookout and report any suspicious activity. Anyone with information on Roulette's location is asked to call 911, the RCMP at 204-857-4445, or the MFNPS at 204-843-7700. Police have found the car of a Manitoba senior who's been missing for over a week. RCMP say Stuart Campbell was last seen around 3:30 a.m. on July 15th. Mounties released this image of the 69-year-old. Campbell's vehicle was found on a road east of Starbuck yesterday morning. RCMP's search and rescue unit is conducting a ground aerial search. Police say he may be confused and disoriented, and officers are concerned for his well-being. People living in the area where the vehicle was found are asked to check for any signs of the missing man, and anyone with information on his whereabouts is asked to call 911 or the RCMP. The first business on the reclaimed land that was Kapiong Barracks is now officially open.
3, 2, yeah, 1, cut.
Treaty 1 nations hosted a grand opening for the Odina gas and convenience store. It's the first business to open on the 109 acres of land now known as Nawe Odina. The gas station is owned by the 7 Treaty 1 First Nations and employs 25 people, 96% of whom are First Nations members. Officials say it integrates principles of collaboration and reconciliation.
This has been a major paradigm shift in how we work together, not only as collective First Nations, but also on the intergovernmental relational level.
The grand opening leads into the 4th annual Anishinaabe Day celebrations, which will be celebrated this weekend at Nawe Odina. CTV weather specialist Colleen Brady is back with your evening forecast. Members of my family were heading out to the pool minutes ago. Then they were calling it off, Colleen, because they're thinking it might be storming out there. Are these young meteorologists correct at all?
Well, they're very wise because a thunderstorm is moving into Winnipeg right now. We actually heard a bit of thunder here in the studio. And one of our co-workers, Catherine, just emailed us out around the Polo Park area. She definitely heard it too. And yeah, thunderstorms are now moving into Winnipeg. Winnipeg is under a severe thunderstorm watch. Just to the west of Winnipeg is where the area starts, where a tornado watch is in effect. But lots of parts of the province right now under a severe thunderstorm watch. All these areas lighting up in yellow like Winnipeg. And then on the other side of that watch area, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch in effect out in the southwestern part of the province. But look at this right here. Where this has turned to red, this tells you this is where a storm has turned severe. I'll zoom in on that area. So that greater Grand Rapids region is where we're seeing storms there. I'll have more details, of course, as these severe storms move through coming up. But for now, let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years in Winnipeg right now. A thunderstorm, and you can see it right there. Look at the sky, 31 degrees with a humid exit, feels like 38. Winds out of the south at 36 kilometers an hour. The pressure is dropping and the humidity is 52%. Out in traffic on this Friday afternoon, a live look at the St. James Bridge. It's getting wet out there. You can see the surface of the bridge there is wet. Thunderstorms in the city right now, so do take care if you are about to head out into traffic.
Some of the roads nearby here could use some more attention.
The Manitoba highways getting millions of dollars in upgrades. Is one of them a highway that you use? That and more local news after the break.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
An area of Westman is getting some upgrades to highways and bridges. Today, the province announced $115 million in improvements to highways 2, 5, and 34.
In rural Manitoba, people often spend a lot of time on the road. And I can tell you from firsthand experience that some of the roads nearby here could use some more attention.
The announcement was made in Glenborough, just south of Spruce Woods Provincial Park, home of the Spirit Sands and Devil's Punch Bowl, popular tourism attractions. The improvements will lift trucking weight restrictions on Highway 5. It's hoped better highways will benefit local farmers and the local tourism industry.
The highways that will be getting upgraded are an important support system to follow farmers to get their product to market and bring consumers, tourism, and economic development to our community.
2 bridges will also be replaced over the Assiniboine River, one on Highway 34 north of Holland, the other bridge at Spruce Woods Park. Does your dog love a car ride? Well, an event this weekend combines cars and pets and raises money for a local animal shelter. It's called Paws to the Pedal. It is an annual fundraiser that tries to improve the lives of animals who are otherwise abused, neglected, or forgotten. It started in 2014, and every year the organization picks a local animal shelter, which receives 100% of the proceeds from the event. This year's recipient is K9 Advocacy Manitoba.
Animal shelters in general are so important to us. Like, for example, Potato here. Potato came from Penny's All Breed Rescue, which is an organization we've worked with in the past with Paws to the Pedal. And it's just really great to be able to give back to the community. And it's kind of really cool to have a car community come out to come together for such a great cause.
Pause to the Pedal takes place Sunday from 1 to 5 at Red River Polytech on Notre Dame Avenue. Visit pausetothe-pedal.com for more information.
Community Connection is brought to you by Mr. Reuter Plumbing. Born to be a hero, trained to be a plumber.
Coming up in the spotlight, a new interactive game that can teach you an Indigenous language and what's going on around the province this weekend.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Brett Kissel.
Colleen Brady has your spotlight today. So Colleen, do you know what a beaver or bear is in Anishinaabe-Moan?
Well, it sounds like I need to try a new game, Catherine, launched by the Manitoba Museum.
Amik, Makwa.
Anishinaabe-Moan with Amik is a free interactive online game which blends visual learning with memory challenges and cultural teachings. It focuses on animals native to Manitoba that can also be found in the museum galleries. It was created in collaboration with language speakers, knowledge holders, and elders. Anishinaabe artist Michaela Gilbert created the illustrations. The game is geared toward children and youth, but can be used by anyone interested in learning Anishinaabe-Moan.
I think that it'll be especially beneficial for teachers to use in pre-visit programming, and we have upwards of 90,000 students joining us annually.
The museum hopes to expand the game to include more words and phrases as well as other Indigenous languages in the future. You can find Anishinaabe-Moan with Amik on the Manitoba Museum's website.
It's like Indigenous Duolingo. I like it.
Absolutely, yes.
Meanwhile, summer is in full swing, and that means there's a lot to do.
So much to do. Here's a look at just some of the events taking place in Manitoba this weekend. Fringe Fest wraps up Sunday. Altona celebrates its 60th Sunflower Festival. The Manitoba Threshermen's Reunion and Stampede is on in Austin. Dugald hosts the Springfield Country Fair. Boardwalk Days returns to Winnipeg Beach. The Northwest Roundup and Exhibition rides into Swan River. Deloraine has its summer fair, while Plumas is hosting a summer fun day. Anishinaabe Days are being celebrated at Noe Odena on Keniston. Fisher River Cree Nation has community celebration with a concert featuring Johnny Reed and Trooper. The Living Prairie Museum has its Monarch Butterfly Festival. Movies in the Square is back with the Minecraft movie in Transcona, and the Folklorama kickoff is on at the Lyric Theatre.
You have earned your weekend, Colleen, after this weather and that big long read, so lots going on.
We're only getting started.
We are. All right, thanks for that, Colleen.
You bet. Start your weekend right with Celebrity Jeopardy at 7, then stick around for Fear Thy Neighbor and cap off the night with E-Talk at 10:30. It's all right here on CTV. A live look now on Taché as the thunderstorm starts to move over Winnipeg. It's warm and humid out there. 31 degrees with the humidex. It feels like 38. I'll have more details on those storms moving into Winnipeg and across southern Manitoba.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, the situation continues to evolve with even more areas in southern Manitoba now under a severe thunderstorm watch. But as I mentioned earlier, a thunderstorm is moving over the city of Winnipeg. At this point, it is non-severe, but Winnipeg is one of many communities under a severe thunderstorm watch. So there is certainly the potential with this very unstable air mass over our region for thunderstorms to become severe. Just to the west of Winnipeg is the area where a tornado watch begins. It primarily affects south central regions, but you can see many regions, including Morris, Winkler, Carman, Portage La Prairie, Notre Dame de Lourdes, Manitou, and then up into parts of the Interlake. But I'll bring in all these other areas on either side, including Winnipeg and Brandon. All these areas lighting up in yellow under a severe thunderstorm watch. And just in the last few minutes, Environment Canada has extended that watch right out to the border and beyond. We see this area in red up around Grand Rapids. That tells you there is a severe thunderstorm happening there. Here's a look at this storm, and it's quite a line of storms, and you can see it's dropping hail. But these storms also have the potential potential to generate an awful lot of rain, torrential rain, very strong wind gusts, damaging wind gusts, a lot of hail, and yes, even if there's no tornado watch in effect, severe thunderstorms can always produce tornadoes. Here's another line of storms I want to show you, moving out of the Nipawin area right towards Altona. Further north, we still have air quality warnings in effect tonight for a good swath of northern Manitoba, over the border and into parts of northern Ontario, closer to where wildfires are burning. And that wind is pretty light, and that's expected to keep the smoke concentrated around those wildfire areas and the local town sites closer to them. And it's not just the south getting the rain tonight, too. There's still rain traveling across the north. That's good. Of course, precipitation needed where fires continue to burn. But what we don't need are thunderstorms. Even overnight, we could see thunderstorms across southern Manitoba. Into Saturday we go. Still hot, still humid, and there is the potential for more thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Then we get into Saturday night, taking us into Sunday, where there is the potential for yet again more precipitation to cross the south, and that does still include Winnipeg. Very warm tonight, a low of 20 degrees with that risk of severe storms. Winds out of the south at 30 for the early part of the evening, up to 31 tomorrow with the risk of an afternoon thunderstorm. Wind shifting coming out of the northwest at 15 kilometers an hour. Now Sunday, showers are still possible. The chance of showers is starting to diminish, but we cannot rule it out by any means. Still a risk of thunderstorms too, 25 degrees. Then we get to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You can see temperatures hitting that mid-20s mark, 24, 25. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud. Then we heat up again by Thursday. Mostly sunny, with a warm high of 27 degrees. Now, this is out at the fairgrounds in Austin earlier this afternoon. A lot of folks out there. Hopefully everyone is safe. That's as storm clouds were approaching there. That photo is from Brad. And no, that's the same photo. Hopefully we can show you that photo from Amy. It's very cute. That one not so cute. That's showing that storm that's moving again, or that was moving into the Austin area earlier this afternoon.
And as Colleen mentioned, it's going to be a very hot weekend, so the City of Winnipeg is reminding you where you can cool off. City-run pools and outdoor spray pads are open, plus cooling spaces will be set up at community centers, and people are invited to cool down at air-conditioned city leisure centers and libraries. The city's also reminding people 9 hydration stations are set up around the city, including in the North End, Osborne Village, and Central Park. Check the city's website for more of this cool stuff. Colleen, I think you need a nap.
I need to take a few deep breaths because we do this again at 6 o'clock.
Colleen is like a swan, very graceful on the surface and then under the water, which is commercial break. She's running around like crazy tracking the storm.
Maybe you see me back there.
Yeah. Well, CTV News National with Sandy Ronaldo starts now. We're going to take a breather, get some Gatorade. We'll be back here for CTV News at 6.